What's up everyone, TheGame2k2 here again for another movie review, and today I'm continuing my review of the Halloween franchise with Halloween Resurrection. With the ending of Halloween H2O, Halloween fans were under the impression that the franchise was over. It seemed natural after a few failures, why not end a dying franchise with a bang? Unfortunately, in the land of Hollywood, a horror movie that's successful must have a sequel to cash in on the success. And so we got yet another sequel in the Halloween franchise known as Halloween Resurrection. Resurrection begins by explaining what happened in the end of H2O. It explains that Michael Myers actually switched suits with one of the paramedics, and it was the paramedic's head that Laurie chopped off, and not Michael's. I've heard worse, so let's continue. Due to the mistake, Laurie is put in a mental hospital and waits for Michael to show up. He finally shows up and succeeds in killing Laurie, despite Laurie setting up an elaborate trap for him. Michael then returns to Haddonfield and goes back to his old house. However, his house is being raided by an internet reality show with 6 college students explore the house. Big mistake, because Michael shows up and goes on another killing spree. This definitely won't go down as the most well thought out Halloween movie. To be fair, I don't mind the concept so much, but its execution is very poor. The entire opening of the movie with Michael killing Laurie was a great idea, but the way the story presented it on screen is just terrible. First of all, could they make it look any more forced? When they do the entire flashback of Michael killing the paramedic and the paramedic's head being revealed, they don't even bother to get the original mask from Halloween H2O. They just use the mask that would be used in Resurrection. I know that sounds like I'm nitpicking, but seriously, shouldn't they have done that? It would have made it a little more believable. And while I'm at it, how exactly does Laurie set the trap up for Michael? The nurse says at the beginning that they found her on the rooftop several times. Could they not see the big rope that Laurie had set up? It also makes Michael look kinda stupid too, because he somehow couldn't see it either. Again, I like the idea that Michael would finally succeed in his mission, but the way they did it was just ridiculous and seemed very rushed. Then there's the rest of the story, which unfortunately makes the beginning look like Oscar gold. Again, I like the concept. I like how Resurrection is trying to be innovative in its filming techniques, giving the movie a reality show look. However, it's spoiled by one element: too much comedy. I really hate to say this, but besides the beginning, the movie doesn't seem to really want to cater to the longtime fans. It really seems like they wanted it to appeal to a more mainstream audience. This isn't the first horror series to try this. The Friday the 13th franchise tried it with Jason X, and we all know how much that worked. There are absolutely no scares in Resurrection. It's all spoiled by some really lame humor. That's kind of sad, too, because they had a great opportunity for some nice scares with the whole reality show type of filming. Another unfortunate mishap for the movie is its character development. Since they decided to kill off the long-running character of Laurie, we are now introduced to new characters, which means we are back to the type of sequel where only 1 or 2 characters are developed and the rest are meant to die. Unfortunately, this is not new for the horror genre. The acting is a pretty mixed affair, too. Jamie Lee Curtis might only be in the movie for the first 10 minutes, but her performance is very good. She could be over the top, but for some reason that really works for the horror genre. Bianca Kalick as Sarah is also really good. I enjoyed her performance because it's really the only character in the movie you can really take seriously. Then there's the role of Michael Myers, which is now played by Brad Loree. And I must admit, Loree does a very good job, keeping the style similar to Chris Duran in H2O, but also adding his own touch to the character. The performances go downhill from there. Let's start with Katie Sackhoff as Jen. She doesn't appear to be in this movie to show any acting ability whatsoever. She seems to be only in the movie to be eye candy. In fact, the same can be said for Daisy McCracken as Donna. Sean Patrick Thomas plays Rudy, and in all honesty, I think Thomas is a good actor. He's done some good roles. Unfortunately, this one is not one of them. They give him lame humor, and his character is not very well developed. Then there's Thomas Ian Nicholas. This is one of those casting calls that proves my point that they were going for the more mainstream audience. because Nicholas was coming off of the success of American Pie 1 and 2. He's pretty much the same character from American Pie, just doesn't perform it as well. Another casting call that proves that point is Busta Rhymes. Rhymes shouldn't be in movies, period. He's painful to watch in this movie. In fact, I remember sitting in theaters and hearing some people actually cheering when he got stabbed, which unfortunately doesn't kill his character, but it's still a great moment. Overall, Halloween Resurrection will probably only work for those who are not fans of the series. I liked the idea for the movie. I liked the way they filmed it, but the bad writing, the lack of scares, and some really bad acting really makes this movie look like everything but a horror film. Well, everyone, that's it for now. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.